You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. They don't have what we're doing. No one has it in the country. That's something that really, really interests me and really excites me. Those big accomplishments, those big achievements, those are the things you'll remember forever. But those little day-to-day things that you don't realize, those are the things that people really need to appreciate and keep on doing. I think the worst thing you can do is bury that stuff down and not deal with it. Some people, they keep that stuff in and it kind of burns a hole in them.
Have you ever done anything like this before?
Never. Day by day, like, they come up with like another road bump. Will we be successful? Yes. What will our timeline be? I don't know. We knew we had to learn and everything. This wasn't like we had years to learn it. Something like alerted them, they're like, something's not right. And I remember, like, I'm texting you, I'm texting other people, they might lower my profile again. I woke up thinking I was going to be sitting in a tank for the next 2 years of my life. I'm just thinking, what am I doing right now? I want to be able to look back on my life and be like, I can write a book about all the things I did. I believe, like, you get one life, might as well do it right.
Hello, and welcome back to the Humanizing Success podcast. My name is Jake Bennon. I am your host. I wanted to first say thank you guys so much for the support. We've been getting a lot of support lately and a lot of really nice comments, so thank you so much. If you guys are new here, thanks for joining. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, all the main streaming platforms. And yeah, if you get any value from this, feel free to subscribe and follow along for more. So today we are here with Max Sinton, my very good friend. We're actually in Israel, so I'm here for a couple weddings, visit my girlfriend, and so we had the chance to sit down here and speak a little bit because Max has some exciting things going on in his life right now. So we'll get into it in a minute. But so the first topic that we usually speak about, and I wanted to get your thoughts on, is when you think about success and someone who's successful, who are you picturing in your head? Or not necessarily a person that you can tell us, but what does that person have? What are they doing?
I think, honestly, it's a great question. And I think it's something that it's hard to answer because when you think about success, and if you just break it down from when you're a little kid, what do you, like, when it comes to getting success and what you hear about as a kid growing up, success might be your extracurricular activities.
Perfect.
It took me a minute for that one. But, sports, school, getting good grades. Anything like that, like more kind of like little achievements. And then as you kind of grow older and you create your own goals and everything, you achieving those goals, I think kind of gives you a sense of you're achieving success or you are successful. I don't think there should be one way to define success because what I might find successful for me might not be what you define as success, and what Elon Musk defines as success is not what I define as success. So it's a tough question to answer, but I think for me, at the end of the day, I'm happy. I have great friends, great family. I got a roof over my head, food and water. And so in that aspect, I consider myself successful.
Awesome. I mean, that's the kind of the point of the podcast, is that there's so many different aspects of success, and everyone's going to have a sort of a different view of what it means to achieve success. And so kind of seeing that, okay, this person thinks about it a little that way, and I never thought about it like that. So.
Yeah, for me growing up, like my grandma, we always talked about the little things and the big things in life. Those big things, like those big accomplishments, those big achievements, those are the things you'll remember forever. But those little day-to-day things that you don't realize, those are the little things that make you happy.
Yeah.
I think those are the things that people really need to appreciate and keep on doing.
Yeah, I think especially the little things are almost more important than the big things, and we sort of brush over them most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned your grandma right now. Once you hit on something, I want to ask about it. So, is she kind of like someone who's influenced you a lot in your, I guess, philosophy and lifestyle, I guess?
I guess speaking of both my grandparents, my mom's parents, I've always been very close with them. I have a very close relationship with them, and they've always, in like my childhood, there was a lot of issues. My parents divorced right when I turned like 11, 12, right around there, and they became a big part of my life and everything, and always supported me financially with college studies, going to overnight camp and everything. So they were part of every decision on the way. Like here we are sitting in Israel, and we can get into that later, of how I got to this point and everything, but they were a huge part of that and discussing like why and everything. So I guess besides them being like my grandparents, they both had their own kind of success in what they did. My grandma doing she had her own like beading and jewelry stuff going on, and then my grandpa was a dentist, and they were just kind of mentors.
And so seeing them, your grandma having her own thing, is her being sort of an entrepreneur in that way, and your grandpa having his own practice, right?
Yeah.
So seeing that kind of leads us into maybe a bit where we are today, and you're starting to do your own thing. Do you think that's sort of seeing that earlier on has made you have more of that mindset of wanting to do your own thing? And obviously, you can give a little background what you do right now, but you'll say whether that's what you want to do for the rest of your life or not. But give a little bit of background and kind of catch us up a little bit what you're doing right now.
So what I'm doing
with your current job.
With my current job?
Yeah, your day-to-day job.
So currently my day-to-day job, I am working in software sales at an information security company, which is great.
You've been doing that for how long?
I've been doing that since September.
Okay.
So, which is great. I like sales. I'm talking to people all the time. I'm not sitting down with my head in my computer and all that. So I do really like it. But at the end of the day, entrepreneurship has been something that really interests me, because I think working for yourself and doing exactly what you want to do and having your own thing, I think that'll bring me a lot of happiness. So that's the route that I'm starting to head into.
And when you say a lot of happiness, what specifically about entrepreneurship you think brings happiness?
I think it's a mix of having my own company in a field that I strongly enjoy, and waking up and just being excited to go out and do what I have to do, whether it's meetings or who knows, whatever is going on in the kind of day-to-day operations.
I've heard a lot of people who are entrepreneurs and who are down that road, they say like they oftentimes speak about freedom. Like it brings a lot more freedom. Like obviously maybe you're doing more work and things like that, but you're doing it for yourself maybe, and for a purpose that you find value in. So I don't know if that's something that...
Yeah, no, exactly. I really do think, I couldn't agree more. It brings a lot of freedom, because at the end of the day, you're calling the shots. Right now, my current day-to-day job and everything, I'm not calling the shots. I go to work and I get told what I have to do, and I have a bunch of different assignments or whatever I need to put together for the day, and I know what I need to do. Now that I kind of have the freedom to explore kind of different ways and tactics on how to run a business, that's something that really, really interests me and really excites me.
And it's not for everyone. I mean, there's, along with that freedom comes a lot more responsibility and work and things like that. And people at different points in their life, maybe that's for them and maybe not. But so now, within how long ago did you start doing something new a little bit?
About 2 months ago, going on 3.
Okay. And give us a brief, we don't want to get into too specifics because we're still in the beginning phases, but give us a little... whatever you can on what's going on and why you started this.
Of course. So, as you know, I'm a big fan of going out for drinks and having a good time with friends, going to different parties, events, social events.
The good life.
And, all the good things in life. The little things that we get to appreciate every once in a while.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, I'm 26 years old. I drink alcohol. Mm-hmm. I like alcohol. And there's a certain type of alcoholic beverage that is in America and in certain parts of Europe that's doing very well. And it's one of my favorite drinks to have. And we're thinking, me and a few friends, my few of my business partners, why hasn't this made it here?
Yeah.
Why hasn't it made it to Israel? So after doing a little bit more market research and everything, we found out the drink wasn't kosher. And then after we got in touch with the head of product development for one of these big companies, and we're like, okay, like, why haven't you guys come into the Israeli market and all this? And he's like, listen, the ingredients were not kosher. None of our factories and plants are kosher. We would either have to reverse engineer everything, make it kosher, get kosher certifications for all of our factories and all of our products, or we'd have to open up a factory in Israel. And if we didn't open up the factory in Israel, then we have to deal with an importing and exporting license and all the taxes. And he's like, it's not profitable. We'd have to charge way too much for the drink. It's something we wouldn't see a return on investment on for a very long time.
They'd have to do too much backtracking.
Yeah.
Just to catch the audience up, if they don't know what kosher is, do you have a short explanation for that?
Honestly, no, I really should.
Go look up what kosher means if you have
Basically,
any questions.
in Israel, for those of you that have never been, in the religion of Judaism, a big thing is to eat kosher. And there's a whole, it's something under Jewish law, and there's a whole different list of certifications and things
There's
that are
certain
kosher.
foods and processes of how foods are, made and created that determines that.
Yeah. For example, in Israel, I can't eat bacon. Bummer, but not kosher.
Do you eat bacon?
What?
Do you eat bacon?
In America, all the time.
You don't eat bacon here at all?
Well, you can't get good bacon here. It's like a fake, imitation bacon.
Huh. Interesting. So another question, which sort of comes from your new startup, let's say, why all of a sudden, what brought you to that thought of thinking, okay, there's a gap here in the market? Like, where did that come from? Why now, I guess?
Honestly, we kind of discovered the idea because you go to a liquor store and you go to a bar or whatever, and they don't have what we're doing. Okay. No one has it in the country. So then after that, we're just thinking, okay, why isn't it here? We did our research, and then the next part, which is the hardest part, is how do we get started?
Yeah.
And getting started, that was tricky because at the end of the day, I've been living in the country for almost 4 years.
Yeah.
But when it comes to business law and everything, we had no clue where to start.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of different Facebook groups and everything, and that's where we kind of started, where we posted in a Facebook group called Secret Renana.
Okay.
Hey, me and my friends, we want to go into the alcohol manufacturing business. We don't know anything about the laws, how to register a business or do anything.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people responded saying, like, hey, like, write me a message, here's my number, call me, let's set up a time to talk. And we spoke with a few different business advisors and a lot of people who made Aliyah.
Yeah.
And Olim Chadashim. If you don't know what that is, the people that make Aliyah. Making Aliyah is when people kind of immigrate to Israel, move here, get Israeli citizenship.
Yeah.
So a couple Americans, this one Australian guy who's become our main advisor, and a British guy who kind of said, okay, like, this is what you need to do. They laid everything out for us. And it was a lot of filing paperwork. Lots of paperwork for very simple things.
Yeah.
And it was
all how the country works.
Yeah. And it was all in Hebrew, and I don't really know how to read Hebrew. So having experienced people, most of the guys that we work with are advisors, that they're startup consultants.
Gotcha.
And having them kind of hold our hand through that process was great. And again, it took a little while, still waiting on some of the legal stuff and everything. But yeah, so that's...
They made it a lot easier.
Yeah, they made it a lot easier.
So to do all that, though, I think of you as someone, just from knowing you for a while, regardless of this, you have a lot of confidence.
Thank you.
And whether it's starting something new, trying something new, going to speak to some random person. Like, I mean, you go to trips to Europe and you just, like, alone, and you just end up with, like, a whole group of friends. And I think it's a very good trait, but I also think it's something that is important in business, and especially entrepreneurship, and something that I'm sure has helped you along this way. But where do you think, have you always been, like, super confident?
Yeah, honestly, as you've known me for the last few years, like, you can definitely agree that I'm definitely more of an extrovert, not an introvert.
Yeah.
And I think the confidence really comes from is that if you accept yourself, and if you accept who you are mentally and physically, then you'll have confidence. I think it kind of starts with a deeper thing with yourself, and just because you have confidence doesn't mean you need to be running around talking to everyone, doing all these things. Yeah. Everyone can kind of show it in their different way. But I've always been kind of the loud child and everything growing up, and I guess that's kind of where it stems from. I guess I'll throw a quote at you.
Go for it.
From, let's see, maybe if you can guess who said it.
Okay.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
I've heard it a million times, but Kobe?
No. Greatest hockey player of all time. There's
Wayne Gretzky?
There you go, Wayne Gretzky. Played for the LA Kings, where you're from. Yeah.
It's funny, I have, like, in one of the houses we lived in, someone had left a stick, and it had Wayne Gretzky's name on it. But I don't know if it was real or not. But anyways, that's the only reason I know who he is.
I guess, and I bring up that quote because my biggest fear in life is living a life of regret. So I really think taking every opportunity you can in life, then kind of kind of, what's that saying? Like, seize the moment.
Yeah.
And everything. I think that's something super important because I don't want to look back on my life I'm 26 in 30 years when I hopefully have a wife and a family and kids and be like, I wish I did this when I was younger. I wish I did that when I was younger.
Now, with that mindset, there's going to be things that you do that are maybe failures or maybe not the thing you want, or not the, like, don't bring the outcome you wanted. Yeah. How do you deal with those?
Failures, like when you fail at something, it's a life lesson. It's like, okay, let's sit down and think about this. I did this wrong. I did that wrong. I could have done this different.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of depends on the situation.
Sure.
And everything, and like kind of the magnitude, because at the end of the day, I could fail in the morning at getting up on time and getting to the bus and delaying my whole day, or it could have been like in college, failed a big exam, or at work right now, I work in tech sales, like I messed up a deal because I wasn't on my game. At the end of the day, everything's a lesson, and it kind of depends on how you bounce back from that.
And for you specifically, how do you not dwell on the bigger losses, let's say? Like, what do you have, like I guess something in your head the way you deal with it?
I'm trying to think. I guess anytime in life where it's come to like something big that I've either failed at or I regretted something really heavily, I guess like the most important thing is acknowledging it and working your way past it. I think the worst thing you can do is bury that stuff down and not deal with it.
Yeah.
I know everyone has their own way of dealing with things and coping with things, but I do think that some people, they keep that stuff in no matter what it is, and they don't get it out, and it kind of burns a hole in them.
When you say get it out, how can one do, or how do you do that, I guess, because you can only speak for yourself, but
for me,
do you talk to people, or?
Yeah, I talk to friends, talk to family. Like when I used to like write stuff down and everything, especially when I was in school.
Yeah.
As like we served in the Army together, had a little notebook in basic training. I'd write stuff down that we did every day, and that only lasted about a couple months before I lost patience with myself. But
yeah.
But yeah, just acknowledging it. It doesn't matter how you do it, but acknowledging something.
Yeah.
It's crucial.
Kind of accepting that as, okay, this is something that happened, but moving forward. I agree. Yeah. So speaking about confidence and your new business, do you think you'll succeed?
Yeah. I'm someone where I don't like to think like this could be risky. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we will succeed. I think a lot of things will go into it, but it's a process, man. At the end of the day, you got to trust the process. Life is a process, and it depends on how we work, how we market everything, how we work with our manufacturer. Right now, our manufacturer's in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And
have you ever done anything like this before?
Never. It's been a lot of research, a lot of using ChatGPT to figure things out. Yeah. And just like day by day, like we come up with like another road bump. So will we be successful? Yes. What will our timeline be? I don't know. We want to get launched by mid-end of this summer. As we do see, it's more of like a summary kind of vibe thing.
Yeah.
And no, we're super excited. We're starting to roll out all of our marketing stuff, all of our socials and everything the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I can't tag anything yet, but I'll tag Max's social in the end, and hopefully you guys can follow up with him, because it's honestly going to be very exciting and pretty big, I think. So
yeah,
I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
So we sort of talked about challenges as far as starting the new business. We didn't get too much into it, so I was wondering if you could talk about, because the product that you're talking about has never been here. I know you briefly spoke to me about some of the challenges you face, but I feel like they're pretty lengthy.
Yeah.
So what kind of things have you had to do as far as going to other countries and challenges like that?
Yeah. So I guess I'll start with, we talked about our first challenge, which was learning how to get the business set up here.
Yeah.
And everything, and Israeli business laws and importing and exporting and figuring all that. After we got past that, and we started speaking with investors to seek out some funding, went to a good amount of investors, and they're like, okay, Cool. We can look up what this is doing in other countries. We know it's going to be successful there. How do you know that Israelis are going to accept this here? How do you know that there's going to be a marketing acceptance?
Sure.
So then our PR guy put together a big 20, 30 question survey.
Okay.
That we sent out strictly to non-Americans and non-Canadians where this product is already a big thing and it's already a multi-billion-dollar market.
Okay.
So really only targeted Israelis, a good amount of friends from South America.
Was that through social media?
Through social media, a little bit through the social media, and a little bit of us just being like, hey,
okay,
we have this idea. Would you please just do this survey? And then we offered it like an incentive, like, hey, you filled out the survey, you'll be entered in a raffle to win this, this, and that.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a lot of responses, and then we a little over 1,000. And then that's where we were able to present it to investors. Like, there will be a marketing acceptance here. We found this, and this trend from Israelis, this, and this trend from these other people, like another different groups inside the country.
Yeah.
And once we were able to move forward with that, we're like, okay, we need a product. So then we looked into a lot of things, and if you've never been to Israel, something you should know for when you come is that it's in a very, very expensive country.
Yeah.
And manufacturing something inside of Israel was going to be too much money.
Okay.
But it was important for us to have a kosher product. And you go outside of Israel and
it gets difficult.
It dwindles a little bit on what's kosher and what's not kosher.
Sure.
So after doing lots and lots and lots and lots of research, we found a manufacturing plant in Vietnam that is kosher. And fun fact.
That's crazy.
Fun fact. You know the aloe vera water here with the little cubes in it?
Yeah, yeah.
This is from that manufacturer.
No way.
Yeah. So
you found it through them, sort of?
No, we found this by luck of just going through all these different manufacturers' websites, and we were on it, and at the end of it, it said kosher certification, halal certification, this and that, and whatever, and we got in touch with them, and sent our ingredients list that we were able to try here at a microbrewery.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
And we sent it to them. They sent us samples back just to make sure, like, they knew what they were doing. They could prepare it properly. And we're on the way with that, but we had to have a rabbi over there go and check out the manufacturing plant to make sure it's actually kosher.
Even though they already produce something for Israel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it comes from a different... It's not under the same roof. It's a giant thing.
Yeah.
And because all the way it kind of works is all the ingredients of the drink, it's not rocket science. It's an alcoholic drink.
Yeah.
And it's all ingredients that are already improved by the Ministry of Health. So we didn't have to have any go through any testing with this and that ingredient or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
It was very straightforward. We got approval, and then we're able to go for a patent from there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been a process, and then like the main thing is just like learning a different business culture, because the way that they do business in Vietnam is not how they do business in Israel, and it's really not how they do business in America.
Yeah.
I'm getting I have a sales representative and a product manufacturing representative, and they're FaceTiming me on WhatsApp in like the middle of the day, and they're calling me in the evening with like these different questions and everything.
So you're having to be like a sort of a mediator between everything, or is it more important to find the right people who understand maybe both cultures a little bit?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And I've taken this. This has been my main project right now inside the company.
Yeah.
As the CEO, and it's it's been a process. It's definitely been a big learning experience. And everything, and I'm hoping right now everything's been running smoothly, and I'm hoping it continues that way.
It won't. I mean, it won't be smooth.
No,
perfect.
I'm sure so the minimum shipment we can make from the manufacturing plant is 60,000 cans.
Yeah.
If you ask me where I'm putting 60,000 cans right now, I don't know.
Sure. You get the problem, you find the solution. Later.
Yeah. So some will go in my apartment.
Yeah.
Some will storage. We'll have to get storage things. Some will go in my business partner's apartment.
Just get like 10 friends and like rent out pieces of their apartment. And
exactly.
It'll be good.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. But the next thing that we're working on right now is this will come into either the port in Ashdod or the port in Haifa.
Okay.
A big shipping container.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now we need to get a truck.
Right.
And then we need to find storage. And when we get to the shipping container, like, do they just drop a container off and we have to move everything on our own?
Yeah.
We don't know. No one really knows. No one's really going out and telling us, because it's not something. If you look at like the more popular drinks here, like Gold Star and Israeli beer, and a lot of these other like European big beer companies like Budweiser,
Yeah.
they have manufacturing plants here. So
What do you mean here? Like in Israel?
Yeah, like the beer, like Budweiser
okay,
is
yeah.
American
Right,
beer,
right, right.
but it's manufactured. They have it manufactured in Israel.
Okay.
So we couldn't really find someone to tell us like how it exactly works with picking everything up. So I'm sure that'll just kind of be a shit show. That's just the day that happens.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is you don't need to have all the answers.
No, you don't need to have all the answers. It's nice to have all the answers, but at the end of the day, if you have all the answers in life, then congratulations to you. You
probably wouldn't be as fun.
You cracked the code and you beat the system.
Yeah, but it probably wouldn't be as fun.
Everyone likes a little mystery in life, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's going to be an issue. Hopefully it's not an issue, but who knows? And then,
I mean, it sounds like you guys have the mindset to deal with it anyways, so
yeah,
that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and then after that, it just comes down to marketing. Yeah. Setting up a lot of different events with different clubs and bars in Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
Right now we're a team of 5 of us right now, and we don't have the resources to be in every city in the country, because there is, I'd say, the biggest nightlife scene and the kind of social scene and people like around our age is in Tel Aviv.
Sure.
But then you have Eilat, and you have Beersheba, and you have Haifa, and you have all these different places around the country that we'll get to at some point. But for now, just kind of starting in the central area. And so getting events and co-sponsorships and partnerships with different liquor stores will be on the shelves and everything, which right now, as we have more samples coming in, that's going to be something in the next couple of weeks where we go around to different liquor stores, kind of give them a little pitch, let them try a product, and then continue from there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And I mean, a huge part of every business now is social media, and that kind of allows you to be in multiple places at once, which is great. So we'll be looking forward to that. And I hope that once you're out and going, we'll have you back on, and I'll get out here hopefully and give it a try, and we'll do a live tasting and all that good stuff.
Send you some merch and some swag to wear
sounds
around
good. Perfect.
Cali.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So going off of sort of, you're talking about the cultural differences and sort of having to adapt to different types of people and new things. You've been living in this country for how long?
Since December 2019.
Same.
Yeah.
we moved here together. We did all that. We joined the Army together. So
yeah.
Back to how we met and all that good stuff. We were roommates for a long time until I recently moved back to LA. But let's go back to before the business. Why did you move here first?
I guess let's go back to the year to properly tell the story, to the year summer 2016 or summer 2017. Okay. I went on Birthright, and for those of you who don't know what Birthright is, it's a free 10-day trip for Jews to come to Israel, and you go from top to bottom and get to explore a bunch of different parts of the country, your Jewish identity, and all that. I absolutely loved the country. Made amazing friends on my Birthright trip, and on your trip you have some Israeli soldiers who are with you, and they're not in their uniform, it's kind of a vacation from them, from the Army.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are some of my best friends to this day. And after that, I went back to school. At that point, I was studying at the University of Kansas, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. I had to throw one of those in there. And
Deserved.
And yeah, I got to my junior year, my second semester, and I was given the option to study abroad.
Okay.
And I studied political science. And one of the options I had was to study at Tel Aviv University and study Middle Eastern politics for a semester. So I'm like, sweet, let's do it.
Yeah.
And everything. And I went back. My program was about 7-8 months. Lived in Tel Aviv, right in the downtown Tel Aviv, in the Saron area.
Yeah.
Really got to explore the country, got to travel around the world and Europe and everything. Had an incredible time. And at the end of it, I didn't want to leave. And I was like, I remember I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, I'm making Aliyah, I'm joining the Israeli military. And she's like, all right, relax. Your flight's in 2 days.
Right.
You're coming home for the summer.
Right.
And you're going to finish your degree. And then if you still want to go to Israel, fine. I don't care. Do what you want. And I was like, all right, fine. So I came back, came back home for the summer, fall, went back down to school, and I'm at that point where I'm finishing up my senior year, and everyone starts talking about they're applying to jobs, internships, and doing that.
Yeah.
And I started doing that too, and the whole time I'm just like, screw this. Like, I want to go back to Israel. Like,
Right, this isn't what I want.
Yeah. So then it got to about, I'd say, February of my spring semester of 2019, and I was just like, I'm applying to make Aliyah today.
Yeah.
Going on the website, went on the website, had my application approved. All I had to do was go in for an Aliyah interview. A month later.
Yeah.
At the embassy in Chicago, went in for the interview, got clearance, and they're like, when do you want to go? And then at that point, I had like these ideas of moving here to join the military and join the army, just because my own like personal views about stuff that's going on in the country. And I was like, all right, well, now I'm making Aliyah to a foreign country where I don't know the language. I want to join the army. I don't know how to join the army.
Yeah.
Spoke to a buddy of mine from high school that did the same thing, but made Aliyah right after high school, and he told me about Green Sabar, which is the program that we both went on and used to make Aliyah, or used to help us join the army.
Yeah, yeah. They make the whole process easier, streamline all the documents, paperwork, everything like that.
And signed up for them. Had a couple interviews with them.
A couple seminars.
Then we had a couple seminars in New Jersey where me and Jake met for the first time.
Yeah.
In like kind of like the fall, a few months before we made Aliyah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then had the second seminar, and then at the beginning of December, a friend of mine told me that he had an Israeli friend, one of my birthright soldiers, Nadav, told me he had an extra bedroom if I want to come in early and stay with him.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, like I'm coming. And then December 1st, 2019 was my flight. Had to fly from Chicago to Toronto. Had a horrible 12-hour layover with Al. Was not a fan of that, but two of our friends from our program, Tomer and Yoni, picked me up from the airport. And
I remember seeing pictures.
Yeah, it was a snowstorm. Friend Yoni's not the best driver in the world. Spun out on the highway a couple times. Wasn't sure if I was making my flight, but in the end, all was good. And then we got here, which is where the whole journey kind of started.
What was... You're in a new country now. We could talk about the story of leading up till today for hours, but what were the main difficulties moving to the new country?
First thing's Hebrew.
Yeah.
Wow.
Language.
The language, it's not an easy language to learn.
No.
And it's something that we knew we had to learn and everything. And this wasn't like we had years to learn it.
Right.
Unless you knew you had this goal your entire life of moving to Israel and learning Hebrew, a different story.
Yeah.
But someone like me and you, like a lot of people in our program, had Israeli parents, and they grew up with speaking. Yeah, they grew up with some kind of Hebrew knowledge. We had no clue.
Right.
So that was the first biggest challenge. Second challenge is I wanted to go to combat, and I was out of shape. I couldn't run, couldn't do anything. So just really trying to push myself and drop some pounds here and there was a big challenge.
I totally forgot about, but you have like a crazy story of how you ended up getting the unit that you wanted to.
Yeah. So basically, our first 3 months in the army, we were just learning Hebrew and everything. That was whatever. Yeah. And then you get sent to a place called Bakum, which is like the military sorting facility. And I had a 72 profile, which meant I wasn't physically fit to go to infantry. So then I thought, I'm like, all right, like I guess I'm going to like Shirion, which is the tank unit, because it was still like an important combat unit that was on my mind. And as you get there, one of the first thing, I don't know why, like the first thing they did is they put you on a scale.
Yeah.
And something like alerted them, they're like something's not right. So then they pull me aside and they bring me to the doctor. And I remember, like, I'm texting you, I'm texting other people, they might lower my profile again, like, I'm screwed, I don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
I get in there, and, like, I keep telling her, like, I'm asking this doctor, like, don't lower my profile, like, I want to go to Shirion, and she's like, oh, I thought you were here because you wanted to raise your profile. So then they ran, like, all these tests on me, hooked my heart up to things, had me, like, jog on this, like, weird floor treadmill thing, whatever, and after that, she printed out a piece of paper and she gave me the 82 profile for. I'm smiling right now because like when it comes to success, a big goal in my life was to serve as a combat soldier in the IDF.
Yeah.
And like she printed out that paper.
Everything's negotiable here.
Yeah, yeah, really. Honestly, as long as you're you have a strong kind of backbone, you can fight your way into anything.
That was crazy. I remember like we're in like I don't even know what rooms you were in doing all these tests, but we're just going through the normal thing, and I'm just getting texts like, first like I think I'm not even gonna be in the unit that I thought I was in, and then like, oh wait, hold on, like there was a huge break in between the texts, so I was like super sad and like bummed, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh wait, I'm going into an even better or higher profile unit.
Yeah.
So that was pretty crazy.
That was a wild day of emotions.
Yeah.
I just remember and when you leave there, like you go in like you go in your uniform and like you leave and whatever, and I'm just sitting on the bus and I have my brand new red boots and I'm like, holy shit, this is happening.
You did not wake up thinking you were gonna.
I woke up thinking I was gonna be sitting in a tank for the next 2 years of my life, which is a great unit.
Yeah.
Super important, super critical.
Difficult. Yeah.
But it wasn't my first choice.
Sure. And so you got to the unit you wanted. What was, other than the language, of course, what do you remember what the biggest, or I guess the time that you thought like, what the fuck am I doing here?
I remember there's one moment, it was, well, there's many moments, but one of my first moments where I was like, what am I doing here? Was, because it was so hot in the summer, my basic training base was just outside of an Israeli city called Arad by the Dead Sea.
Yeah.
And
it's one of the hottest places in the world.
Yeah. And, our draft class was August 2020.
Yeah.
When we got to our new units, and during the day, because it was too hot, they couldn't make us be outside or do anything physical. So we'd wake up at like 3 a.m, do all of our physical stuff, and then by like 9, 10 a.m., it's pushing 85, 90 degrees, going on past 100 by the early mid-afternoon. And I remember one day, I'm just in Stein, which is a position they put you in. Like it's push-up position, but you're not doing push-ups. And where I'm in that, I'm just looking like straight ahead and seeing the sun come over the mountains by the Dead Sea and everything. I'm just thinking, what? And we were like that for hours. Yeah. I'm just thinking, what am I doing right now? Like, how did I get to this point or whatever? Yeah. And then after that, so like another kind of challenge that was hard to adjust to is, you know me, I can be very mature and I can be very immature, kind of depending on my mood for the day. But at the end of the day, we came here and we weren't 18-year-old Israelis. We've all kind of had our own discipline in life, depending on whatever it is that we were doing. Mine, what really kind of disciplined me was just going to college and living on my own for 4 years without my parents. And we were with a bunch of 18-year-old Israelis who had just finished high school. Yeah. And they go from high school into being into a military. And that's a big jump. I don't know how I would be able to handle it if I were them, but it could be very immature. And that was definitely something that the challenge was just kind of quite annoying.
Was there a culture shock? Because, I mean, Israel and America is very different, but you are a very outgoing person. Yeah. So was that, because for me, I'm more of a bit of an introvert. So here there's not much private space isn't really a thing. Speaking very loud is a thing. And like completely the opposite. So was that a little bit of a culture shock for you? Did you kind of adjust to that pretty quickly?
I think I adjusted to it pretty quickly because as I am an extrovert, just because with my Hebrew, sometimes I'm not always the most. At first, I was very uncomfortable speaking in front of a lot of people because I assumed they'd laugh at me if I make a mistake. But then I would end up making mistakes and laughing at myself anyways. Yeah. So I got over that very quickly. But there was definitely like the first like couple of weeks, I was just kind of like, because right away like, Israel, it's not a big country. This guy from Tel Aviv knew this guy's cousin from Haifa, and this guy knew that guy, and everyone kind of knew someone, and everyone became friends really quickly. And because of, it wasn't that there was a language barrier, because I can understand everything, but it actually took after like a couple weeks, we had something called shatash, which is in basic training your last hour of they're kind of like the last hour of the day before you go to bed. You have time with your phone, shower, snacks, go smoke a cigarette, whatever you want with your friends. And I remember I would always sit with these two other lone soldiers, one guy from Sweden and one guy from New York.
Yeah.
Or just kind of like chill alone, because as you said earlier, Israelis are just loud and yelling. I kind of want peace and quiet.
Yeah.
And these two guys in my tzevet, or in my team, one named Nitzan and one Omer, came, and they both spoke like decent English, and they came and sat next to me, and they said, "Why don't you hang out with us? Like, why don't you, like, you're always silent, like, around us. Like, do you not like us? Like, what the hell's the matter with you?"
Yeah.
And I was just
That's so Israeli.
yeah. And I was just like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, honestly, with my Hebrew, like, I don't know. Like, I don't always feel comfortable jumping into the conversation and making a mistake and then derailing it or whatever. And they're like, bro, like, no one gives a shit. Like, come to the table, come smoke with us, come hang out with us. Who gives a shit? Like, you're our brother. We want to get to know you and everything. And then after that, we all became great friends. Speak to them every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, but that definitely a little hurdle I had to get over.
It is true. I mean, I think in general, especially here, like, people don't really like give a shit if you're, just beginning or whatever. Like, at the end of the day, you always build things in your head bigger than they are.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, quite the different place, but it's good that you adjusted quickly.
Yeah, and it's because if you think about it, like in America, you have people from every place in America. Like, if we're talking about like New York, Boston, Miami, the Deep South, the Midwest, LA. From every different kind of region, everyone has different characteristics. And then if you look at it here in Israel, you have like the Tel Avivians, and you have the people from the north, and people who live on like a kibbutz or moshav, or live in a settlement, or arsim, Israeli rednecks, basically. And
I've never heard of it described as that, but that's kind of good.
That's when I have a great host family that when like I told them, like, oh, like, what are you gonna do tonight? When I was leaving dinner, they're religious, so they don't go out on Fridays. I'm like, oh, I'm going to this club in Tel Aviv with friends, Salvata, and they're like, oh, Arsim, go there. I'm like, what is Arsim? They're like, it's the Israeli rednecks.
That's so funny that they described it like that.
Yeah, my host brother like described it to me as like, when you see the guys in with all the same what's it called, a haircut with the same fades on the side of their head, wearing either a black t-shirt and black pants, which is definitely what I'm wearing today.
He's adapted to the culture.
Wearing a black t-shirt, black pants, or a white t-shirt and black pants with a gold chain around their neck.
Yeah.
That's how you know you find the Arsim. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, cool. But yeah, it's interesting for Israel being such a small country. There is a solid amount of diversity.
One thing I do want to ask, we're getting to the end of the time here. How has your worldview changed from Israel? Like, as far as the American, and I've talked about this with a couple people I've had, but on the podcast, but the American, like, lifestyle is more like go to college, kind of work for the rest of your life, and that's the path. So has it changed? Has your worldview changed? Has your lifestyle view changed since you've been here?
As in, like,
the path that you want for yourself, I guess. Because most of the people here, they go to the army, and then they go out, they travel for 3 months to a year, and then they figure out life as they go. Like, there's no, like, really rush, I guess.
Yeah. I'm very, I guess, I won't say I loved my path and how I got here to this day. And I wouldn't want to change anything, because there's so many people I've met along the way that have influenced me or effectively in a positive way or a negative way, and I've learned a lesson about that. I don't know. It's a hard question, because things that work for me don't work for someone else. Like, honestly, when it came to like school and growing up, I was never a good student. I was a BC guy. I was never like an AB guy. Why'd I go to college? That's just what was put in my head. Everyone goes, you go to college and you get a degree. Can I tell you something right now? Do I remember one thing from college? No. I remember the life lessons I learned and everything, but all these like stupid lectures about, well, I was a political science major, about ancient philosophers that from thousands of years ago.
That's not what stuck.
I don't remember anything about that.
Yeah.
I don't even. I can maybe name off the top of my head 3 of my professors that I had in college out of the multiple ones every year.
Yeah. So when you think about, you probably maybe you did. Maybe you had a picture in your head of, okay, I'm gonna go join the army and then I'll do this or do that. Did you have a view of like, I guess a bit of a plan, and has that changed?
No, never. Like, I can say in life, like I've never really like had a solid plan.
One step at a time.
Yeah, like one step at a time, day by day, and I think that's important. People in life that have those plans, like I want to be a doctor, I want to do this, I
Sure.
want to do that. That's great. That's amazing. Like I'm in full support of someone putting their mind to that. But for me, it's like I need to be doing something different, something kind of interactive. And if I'm not, then I get bored, and I change my plan the next day. It's something that really, really, really bothers my mom because
It's a very entrepreneurial trait.
yeah, because like my sister went to school, she knew she wanted to be a nurse or a physician's assistant. She went and did that.
Yeah.
And she was like the goody two shoe of the family. I was the one that kind of pushed everyone's buttons, broke boundaries, and saw how far I can push my limits with certain things.
Yeah.
And mom didn't like that. And then my little brother, he has his own situation right now, but
Yeah.
still go to school, real estate license, go into that. Very straightforward. I think something I'd fear in life is having a simple life. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I want to be able to look back on my life and be like, I can write a book about all the things I did and have stories. I want to be like an old guy. I don't want to be an old guy right now. Gray hairs are coming in, and that's already enough.
Yeah.
And but I want to be able to sit down and like tell my kids or whoever I'm with 20 in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years all the cool things I did in life. Not as a thing to like toot my horn, but like depending on what your views are, some people believe in reincarnation, but that's a topic. It's a whole nother topic. But I believe like you get one life, might as well do it right, and kind of go with the flow and do what makes you happy.
I mean, most of the time, parents and people closest to us, they want stability and comfort for us, which is great, but that's not for everyone, and not for you.
No.
So.
Yeah. No, it's just like I get bored very easily, and I need like constant change or something new, or I need a challenge.
Yeah, I like that.
If I get too comfortable in life, then I get lazy.
Yeah. Same.
And it just doesn't work. And
yeah,
then,
I completely get that.
Yeah, because if you get too comfortable and you kind of get in that hole, it can be tough to get out of it.
100%, and it can be tough to realize you're going into it. So
yeah, you don't know when you go into it until you're too far into it.
Right, exactly.
And then that turns into a whole different situation.
Yeah, no, I like that. I agree. So the last question I usually like to ask, which I've found a lot of good answers from, is what are you most proud of in your life so far?
It's a good question.
You can take your time.
I think just me and like the memories I've made and everything, like the people I've met. Like I think it's kind of corny and cringy to say like I'm proud of my life, but because like I can go through all these different things. Like I'm proud that like finishing college was a big achievement for me. Then finishing the army was a big achievement.
Yeah.
And like those are two things like I was really proud of. Starting my own business has been a huge process, and we're not fully there and done with everything yet. Still lots of work to do every day.
Yeah.
But that's something I'm very proud of. I think
like single moments that you're.
Yeah, I think it's many. Rephrase the question again.
Well, no, you were answering it good.
Yeah.
Most people that have answered this, they don't speak about a single moment. They're like, the progress I've made so far, the person I am today. So I think that's kind of where you're going with that.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I guess definitely the person I am today. And just like I feel like I do what makes me happy, and whether that's hanging out with friends, going out at night, traveling. Jake very well knows that I'm a big sports fan, watching sports and all that, and I guess like I don't ever want to have to change who I am.
Yeah.
And I think that also kind of ties back to success, accepting who you are and not changing who you are. Obviously, some things need to change here and there, but not changing your personality, like your interests in life and everything, just because society says you have to. Because if we all did what society said we had to do, we'd be screwed.
Pretty boring.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a good question, and I bet if you ask me the question tomorrow or next week or next month or next year, I'll have a completely different answer, or I'll have the same answer, but just kind of with more insight.
Sure. Yeah, I like that. So the way that I've been closing out the podcast is we've been doing a little word association. So I put together some words here, and if you can give me like a single/couple word answer, that'd be great. Okay. So the first one is military.
Tough.
Partying.
Vibes.
Okay. The Hebrew language.
Tough. Miftah. And a word in Hebrew is miftah. It means accent.
Yeah.
For me, I never really figured out how to properly pronounce a resh. And like a chet, you have to say like chet or like that or whatever. And my accent, it's just something I've accepted that I don't know if I'm going to live in Israel my whole life. I don't know if I'll be here for another 5 years, 10 years, who knows, or wherever I'll end up. But I've accepted I'll never get the accent down. And it's something that I can say something very simple and people will be like, Ma? Like, what did you just say? Yeah.
Okay. Sports betting.
Oh, God. That, I can't just give you one word. I understand the point of this. I think I am a sports bettor.
Yeah.
If any of you guys out there listening have good tips, hit me up.
Go follow
them. And it's ups and downs and highs and lows. I told myself that I'll stop gambling on sports as soon as it severely negatively impacts my financial capabilities.
So it's yet to do that.
Okay. Let's knock on some wood for that. And but no, my whole life I've loved sports, and putting money on it is just very entertaining for me. So there's the answer. There's the paragraph. Paragraph association.
We might get a longer answer for this next one. We kind of need an explanation a little bit. So the last one's Tubi.
To be what?
Tubi.
Oh, the alcohol. The drink?
Oh, Tubi is a specific alcohol that they only sell it in Israel.
Tubi 60 is an alcohol that they sell in Israel and a couple of areas. You can buy it in like New York, and I know like one place in Chicago you can get it. It's an alcohol made in Israel. No one really knows what's in it. Like there's no, like on the bottle, there's no ingredients list. You can't really go online and like find out. No one knows what's in it. What I think about it, I guess the one word I'd give you is hangover, because it's something that like on like Birthright, and when Americans first come to Israel, they have to try 2 alcohols, Tubi and Arak.
Yeah. And
neither of them taste very good. But like it's just part of the culture here.
I didn't like probably either when I got here, but I've sort of grown. Like I like Tubi a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
See, like I've grown to Arak. Like I can have Arak and lemonade and whatever. But if this water was a glass of Tubi right now, it wouldn't have been touched the whole podcast.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having.
I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thanks for you being here, man. Flying out here just to
do the podcast.
To talk to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, it's been a pleasure, and I hope that once you get everything going and you're a little further along, we can share with the world what you got going on and tell a bit more about it. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, but I will put Max's socials in his personal socials in the description if you want to follow along. I'm sure he'll be posting there.
Yep.
But if you guys are interested in hearing more and have enjoyed anything from this past podcast, please follow along, subscribe, like it. It helps a lot. We appreciate the support, and stay delusional, because success comes when you least expect it.
Yeah. I want to thank you for having me on and taking the time, and this has been great, man.
Appreciate it. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
So.
And if you're single, I'm single too.
Perfect.